Buenas, 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 buenas amigos, ¿cómo están? ¿Cómo están? Feliz mañana. Buenos días. Good morning amigos, buenos días, feliz mañana. Otro día, otra semana, another week. But we still here amigos. Estamos aquí listos para nuestra revisión, our review, right? We gotta review the things that we learn so that we don't forget, amigos, right? It's really important to, refresh our memories constantly, amigos, because this is the only way we're gonna remember. Unless we do this, we forget, right? And even myself, I have to be writing things down just like this. If I didn't have this list with me, I couldn't really share these palabras con ustedes, right? And for the ones who don't know, mi nombre es Daniel Herrera. My name is Daniel Herrera, and I'm here every week, every sábado o domingo, either Saturday or Sunday, to recap everything that we've done this week. Okay, so this week we got 7 palabras nuevas, amigos. 7 new palabras, 7 new words in Spanish. En español. And so we're going to start con la palabra mente, amigos. Mente. This is our first word this week. El lunes we started the week with la palabra mente. What is mente, amigos? Mente means mind, amigos. So la mente es muy importante, right? What am I saying? La mente es muy importante. I'm saying the mind is very important. What if I said la mente es muy poderosa, amigos? I'm saying the mind is very powerful, right? La mente es muy poderosa. The mind is very powerful. La mente es muy poderosa porque todo lo que pensamos se hace realidad. Because everything we think about becomes a reality, amigos. La mente es muy poderosa. Mente, now you know that means mind. So there you go, amigos. Mente is la primera palabra. La segunda palabra, the second word that we learned, es la palabra. I typically share with you. Can you see the first one right, like on top is mente, the first one, right? The next one is arroba. Can you read it? Sometimes the spelling, actually most of the times the spelling makes it easier for us to recognize, to say it, right? So the second one is arroba. Arroba, it's a palabra, it's a word that a lot of you may know, a lot of you maybe don't, but arroba is at, right? You will see this word when you're giving people your email, right? So that's when you typically need this word to know how to say at, right? The symbol, the symbol at, when you're giving people your email, you say your name, Rosa, Pedro, Daniel, right? At. How do you say at in Spanish? In Spanish, we don't say at, amigos, right? We say arroba. Arroba is how we say at. So now you know, if you're giving your email to someone, you can say, hey, my email is this, blah, 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 your name, arroba gmail.com. Punto is dot, right? We don't say dot, we say punto. So, tu nombre, your name, arroba at gmail.com. There you go, amigos. So that's how we do it. And now you know how to do it as well. So there you go, my amigos. Next is the palabra vino. Can you see it right there? Para el miércoles, on Wednesday, la palabra es vino. Vino. What does vino mean? What does vino means? Vino is a liquor. It's a type of alcohol, right? Es un tipo de alcohol. Vino means wine, right? A mí me gusta el vino, right? That would be a good example if I say, oh, a mí me gusta el vino porque es rico, right? I'm saying I like wine because it's tasty. Rico means tasty in this context, but rico could also mean rich in a different context, right? So context matters, amigos, and when you're describing things, vino. Well, I switched up from talking about vino to rico, and then back to vino. Vino is wine, right? Vino is wine. So me gusta el vino después de la comida, right? That would be a more complete example, right? Me gusta el vino después de la comida. I'm saying I like wine after the food. Comida is food, right? So there you go. Ese es mi ejemplo para ustedes. That's my example for you. Again, feel free to create your own examples, amigos. The point of this, exercise, the words that I share with you, the words that I teach you in Spanish, is for you to create your own, your own examples. Give them your own twist, so that, it's so you can see how you can diversify, you can diversify the language however you please, because we're all different. We all have different ideas. So the same word can be used in different scenarios, and different contexts as well. And that changes the meaning sometimes. So there you go. So now you know the word vino. Next word, amigos. Next word is, can you see it right there? Vos with an S, right? With an S at the end is how you say tú in certain countries, right? I think it's mostly in Argentina and Uruguay. Argentina, Uruguay, right? Argentina, Uruguay. That they, instead of saying tú in those countries, they say vos. So como tú me gustas, right? That would be just an example that I can share with you. Tú me gustas. If I say tú me gustas, I'm saying you. I like you, basically. It's the opposite, right? Tú me gustas. I like you. But because we know that in Argentina or Uruguay they don't say tú. Instead they say vos. So vos me gustas, right? That's how they would say it. So that could maybe throw some people off, right? Because they are like, oh, I thought you in Spanish was tú. But what they didn't know is that in Argentina, if they go to Argentina or they travel in Argentina, over there they don't say tú, they say vos, right? But you can, for the most part, amigos, you can tell what they're talking about because the context again helps, right? The context is gonna be, they talking about you, right? So you can pretty much tell that they're referring to you, but they're not gonna be saying tú. They're gonna be saying vos this, vos that. So vos eres muy guapo, right? Vos eres muy guapo. You are very handsome, right? Guapo is how we say handsome. So vos, and they even change the, instead of saying vos eres, they say vos sos. They have their own twist to that as well. But let's just stick with vos. Vos, they use vos instead of tú, amigos. So just so you know, just in those countries though, and the reason I came up with this word is because there are music, there are music that, in Spanish of course, that has this word, and you might, be listening to some of this music and then you hear boss and they're like, oh, okay, boss, what does that mean, right? But now you know that it means you. right? And then if it ends with a Z, is voice, right? Again, the context will help will help you recognize what is it that they're really saying, So let's move on, amigos, to the next one. The next one right there, do you see it? La siguiente palabra es cruz. Cruz. Do you see it right there? Cruz. What does cruz? Viernes, on Friday. El viernes, amigos. Cruz, la palabra cruz. Cruz. Actually, it would also be a last name. I had a few. Yeah, I used to know some people, back from high school, that their last names, because there were a few of them, were Cruz, and then I know this one guy whose last name is Cruz as well, right? Cruz is cross, like a cross, like where they put Jesus Christ was nailed down onto a cross, right? Or a lot of people wear like a cross, like a little chain with a cross, right, on their necks, right? So let's see if I can come up with an example. Tengo una cruz en mi pecho, right? That could be a good example. Very typical. We usually say this, when we're wearing our chains, Tengo una cruz en el pecho, right? I have a cross on my chest, right? Tengo una cruz en el pecho. Or if you're talking about religion, right? This word is gonna come up because you talk about Jesús fue crucificado en la cruz, right? Jesús fue crucificado en la cruz. Jesus Christ was crucified on the cross, right? En la cruz. There you go, amigo. So that's my example. Let's keep it going so we don't make this video too long. We don't want that. Next one is me resfrié. I kind of messed up the spelling the first time, so I had to rewrite it, but that made it a little messy right there. Me resfrié. So if you say me resfrié, amigos, you're saying me resfrié, you're saying I got a cold. I got the flu, me resfrié. Either cold or flu. I know in English there is a distinction between cold and flu, but in Spanish we use resfrié for either. So me resfrié means, I got a cold, I got a flu. Me resfrié, tengo que ir al doctor, right? I got the flu, I got a cold, tengo que ir al doctor, I have to go to the doctor. There you go. So that's how I would use it, amigos. And so me resfrié hace 2 meses. Thank God I haven't gotten sick ever since. So me resfrié hace 2 meses. I'm saying I got the flu 2 months ago. Me resfrié hace 2 meses. I got the flu 2 months ago. Me resfrié hace 2 meses. That's how I would use it. So me resfrié. And now we can finally do the last one, amigos. Right there. Can you see it? País. Pretty easy, right? País. What does país mean, amigos? País simply means country. Country, amigos. So, mi país es Peru, right? I'm saying my country is Peru, right? ¿Cuál es tu país, right? What is your country, right? Especially if you want to use a different statement or a different question other than de dónde eres all the time, right? De dónde eres is how you ask people, about, their country of origin, their nationality. But if you want to kind of do something different, you can say de qué país eres. De qué país eres. That's a variation to where are you from, right? O de dónde eres. De qué país eres. País, country. There you go. ¿Cuál es tu país? What is your country? Let me know in the comments, amigos. Let me know in the comments. So that's how I would use it. That's what I would say. So there you go, amigos. Don't forget to follow, subscribe. Hope this video helps, and I will see you next time. Okay?